First story. Help, urgent. Me 28 million tested positive for chlamydia. My fiance has been my only sexual partner in 6 years. We've been together 8 months. Did she cheat? I tried to summarize everything to keep it short. I developed abdo pain 1 month ago which lasted 3 hours. Tested urine MSU blood and urine, no bacterial growth, aka no UTI. Dipsticked urine over the course of the month after the initial onset of abdo pain to see if blood resolves. Twice a week. Blood remained in urine and appeared to be worsening. Not visible in urine, only visible result through a dipstick. Went into GP 4 days ago due to a slight constant discomfort developed in penis. MSU showed blood in urine. Awaited STI results. I said don't bother as I'm in a committed relationship. She suggested we test it. 2 days ago, worsening stinging sensation, cloudy urine, some discharge from penis, leaking, itchy sensation along urethra. STI results still not back by this point. Saw doctor this morning, given 1 course of azithromycin. Taken this morning. He suggested I get a bladder scan and a urine test for bladder cancer. Both of these tests arranged and scheduled. This evening went into work, checked my STI results which finally returned positive for chlamydia. I left work straight away and broke down as I was walking to my car. Not doing well mentally whatsoever. What is the likelihood my partner cheated on me? I'm seeing her tomorrow. I'll sit down with her and have a very serious discussion. How do I even approach this matter? I'm in distress, distraught. What do I even do? Please guide me through this. What should I do? What should I ask? How do I know if she's being honest? Update. I tried to summarize everything to keep it short. I developed abdo pain 1 month ago which lasted 3 hours. Tested urine MSU blood and urine, no bacterial growth, aka no UTI. Dipsticked urine over the course of the month after the initial onset of abdo pain to see if blood resolves. Twice a week. Blood remained in urine and appeared to be worsening. Not visible in urine, only visible result through a dipstick. Went into GP 4 days ago due to a slight constant discomfort developed in penis. MSU showed blood in urine. Awaited STI results. I said don't bother as I'm in a committed relationship. She suggested we test it. 2 days ago, worsening stinging sensation, cloudy urine, some discharge from penis, leaking, itchy sensation along urethra. STI results still not back by this point. Saw doctor this morning, given 1 course of azithromycin. Taken this morning. He suggested I get a bladder scan and a urine test for bladder cancer. Both of these tests arranged and scheduled. This evening went into work, checked my STI results which finally returned positive for chlamydia. I left work straight away and broke down as I was walking to my car. Not doing well mentally whatsoever. What is the likelihood my partner cheated on me? I'm seeing her tomorrow. I'll sit down with her and have a very serious discussion. How do I even approach this matter? I'm in distress, distraught. What do I even do? Please guide me through this. What should I do? What should I ask? How do I know if she's being honest? Second story. D-Day was a month ago. D-Day was May 4th. My 29F husband, 29M, had just come home from a 24-hour shift at the hospital, and out of nowhere, I decided to look at his phone. For context, I've known my husband since we were 15, dated in high school, but in college he left me for someone else. I was devastated by that and never really emotionally recovered. He came back into my life 4 years later, and I felt like he had matured, realized that he wanted to be with me. But the rest of this post will give you the picture that that wasn't the case. We got married late last year, no kids. I didn't find anything in his messages but then decided to look through his pictures. What I found was a video of him and another man from January of last year. I had known he was bisexual since we were kids, but he had never admitted it to me before. I woke him up immediately and said to him, much more calmly than I should have, "You cheated on me." The first thing he said was, "No, I didn't." And then I explained what I found. He then started to admit to everything. I travel once a month for work, and I was out of town at the time. He cheated on me with a man from Grindr, high on ecstasy, which besides weed, is his second drug of choice. He then trickled-truthed another affair that he had. To be honest, the ONS with the man should have devastated me. And it did, but I could have maybe eventually understood that he had repressed this part of his sexuality for so long. But what truly killed me was this affair he had with a friend from his past. At first he told me that they kissed, and then he trickled-truthed it up until what he says was a minimum 6 PA encounters over 2 years, plus sexting. I knew they were friends, and I even knew that they'd had sex in the past. But for some GD, purely superficial, reason I didn't feel threatened over her. And of course, he managed to convince me that they were just friends. He says he never had feelings for her and that it was purely sexual. Hard to believe since they've been friends for so long. That she let him do things to her that I just didn't. And that he cut everything off in February or March of last year. It's really pissing me off that he can't remember when. I don't buy that because after looking at her IG, I found out that she moved away sometime in the summer. So who knows if he really ended it or if he didn't have a choice. He maintains that at one point she was telling him to leave me and be with her, so he decided to end it. After I found out about the guy, he gave me full access to his devices and to all his accounts. After looking through his email, I found out that he had been active on a dating app called Badoo for the first 2 years of our relationship. We were in a LDR at the time. Said he never met anyone off of it and used it to solicit nudes. And he told me he would sext people on Grindr as well. He got banned off of Grindr for trying to buy ecstasy on it shortly after the ONS. He thinks he has a sex addiction. Definitely has a porn addiction that I knew about but didn't think it was a big deal. Yes, I know, very naive of me, as are most of the details of this story. The betrayals run so excruciatingly deep. He betrayed me throughout our entire relationship in one way or another. He said that when he married me he decided he was going to leave all that behind. I haven't found any evidence of cheating since we've been married, or months before I guess, but it's literally only been 5 months. For the first 2 weeks after I found out, I was physically ill. I wanted to leave, but what's holding me back is that I'm underemployed, have very little in savings, and I have nowhere to go. I moved to another state to be with this person and to support his career. Biggest mistake of my fucking life. I haven't found a job in my field, so I have a huge gap in my resume. I can't go back home because my parents rent out their home on Airbnb, and that's their main source of income. My plan right now is to fully focus on myself and my life while I'm still here. My WH wants to reconcile. He started therapy right away. I did too. We have not had MC yet. I told him that my conditions for R is that he has to quit drugs, quit porn, be in therapy and help me financially so that I can save money in case he betrays me again, and I have to leave. He seems remorseful, but it's hard to believe anything he does or says. The last month has been so bizarre. It feels like our whole relationship was a lie. I'm definitely suffering from the sunk cost fallacy, because I've loved this person for most of my life. At this point, the heartbreaking chest pain has subsided. Sadly, my biggest worry is that the next time he betrays me will be something even worse, where he leaves me for the AP or fathers a child with the AP. That's my gut feeling. I don't know if R is possible when the person has betrayed and disrespected you for the entirety of the relationship. Just wanted to share my story after stalking this community all month. If you'd like to talk through our experiences with betrayal, feel free to PM. Update. Struggling hard today. Today and this last week have been really hard. I think the sexual abuse of my WP hooking up with someone else and potentially exposing me to life-threatening STDs has finally hit me. I spent the first month being upset at his affair with the woman, but now all I can think about is how he slept with a random man from Grindr unprotected, and then had sex with me shortly after, before he got tested. I'm still in a state of shock that he could do that to me, and it's almost like my brain didn't want to believe it at first, so I focused on the other affair. But it has hit me that he's capable of doing that and that my life is at risk being with this person. So why the hell am I even considering our? My body is also reacting to all the stress. I have tinnitus in my left ear now and another health issue. Had a panic attack about it last week too. Especially the tinnitus. I've had it for a week now. The mental anguish is becoming too hard to bear. My therapist is also out on vacation for the next 3 weeks. Help. Third story. Can I do this for the rest of my life? Long story short, me, 29F, my husband, 34am, and my boyfriend, 30m, are the main characters. Husband and I have been married for 10 years. Dead bedroom for basically 6. 2 kids, house and memories. We have a great partnership and get along in the confines of our arrangement. I view him as more of a very attractive roommate, and I know for a fact that he feels the same. Boyfriend and I have been seeing each other for about 18 months and having sex for 16. We met at work. I know. Don't dip your pen in company ink. We meet up weekly at his place. Boyfriend is single and tells me that he'll stop seeing me once he finds a girlfriend. I know that he's not even trying to find a girlfriend. He also knows that I'll never leave my marriage. Boyfriend and I actually fight more than my husband, and I know that I emotionally hurt him every time we have sex and leave afterwards. He wants more, but I refuse. I told him that he can stop seeing me at any point and I'll be just fine. My marriage is complicated, to say the least. I love our family unit. I love us being together, and I won't throw that away. However, I need sex. And my boyfriend gives me the best fucking sex I've ever experienced in my lifetime. Even during me and my husband's honeymoon stage, the sex was never, ever this passionate. I know my boyfriend would marry me in a second. He often talks about our future. He talks about when the kids are in college, we'll be together. I care about him as a person. I do love him, but my love for him is hard to explain. I've been feeling like I need to cut him off, but I selfishly don't want to do that. I'm addicted to the sex. It's just too easy. I can play him like a fiddle, and I maliciously enjoy that. I'm a bad person. No need to tell me in the comments. I feel like I'm in too deep to stop this now. How long can I realistically do this for? Fourth story. I'm going insane. My wife and I have been together for 20 years. We have 4 kids. We fight a lot. On our last fight I had enough again and left again for 3 weeks again. In that time I started to work on myself. Went back to church, quit drinking, went try AA meetings. Not that I was an alcoholic like that, but because we were separated and I thought it was over. I didn't know where else to go for support. What she did in that time was create a Tinder profile and meet a guy and had sex with him on the first date, and at least 3 different dates in a row. She FaceTimed him in front of my daughter, which is how I found out cause my daughter told me. She got a stoner teenager to babysit, drive 60 miles illegally in the carpool lane, to have sex with this guy on the first meeting. After my daughter told me she was with a guy she met on Tinder, I got her location and drove there. Never found her, but in texts that came up later they knew I was outside and were taking pictures of me looking for her and calling me a stalker. Laughing at me, I'm sure. My kids were worried and calling her, and she still chose to spend the night with him. She left pictures on her phone, even though they exposed the lie she was trying to feed me about what she did that night. She left her overnight bag out from that night with lingerie in it, apparently not caring if I found it. She never deleted the texts fully, so I was able to find them in her trash file. Didn't delete him off of Instagram till a week after I found out. Didn't block his number till a week after. And the overnight bag is still sitting in my closet for 2 weeks now, even though I asked her to get rid of it. We walk past it every day. She doesn't want to talk about it, and claims she just wants to move forward and be together. She said she was sorry and wishes she didn't do it, that she was hurt and thought I was cheating cause she didn't know where I was going when I left to attend AA meetings, even though I told her that's where I was going. I can't move on without talking about it. I don't understand and I need to. And it couldn't be more apparent that she really doesn't regard me much if she's willing to do that in front of my kids. And even still not get rid of that overnight bag. I'm broken and want to die. Worst part is, if I get a divorce, she'll get more than half of everything and move on to find another guy who will take care of her. I'll have less than half and be lucky to find a girl interested in a 40-year-old, divorced guy, with 4 kids, making basically minimum wage after she gets done. Who can I take care of afterwards? I've lost, I will continue to lose. I'm a loser. I can hardly bear the pain I feel, and I'm trying to show her how sorry I am for causing this. Doing dishes, yard work, etc. And all I'm asking is for her to be remorseful and assure me she feels bad and still wants me. But she's barely making an effort outside of saying she appreciates all that I'm doing. WTF do I do? Fifth story. Genuinely need advice on wife's affair. Okay, I'll try to keep this brief. I deployed, was emotionally unavailable when I got back. I was genuinely numb at the time. My wife started a friendship with a co-worker while I was gone, and when I got back it escalated due to unmet emotional needs, or at least that's what she says. Long story short, I got them together a few times, mostly innocent public situations, and each time she swore nothing happened and that we had to stay together. A bunch of mini failed reconciliations later, I caught them at a hotel together while I was supposed to be on overnight work. She said it was the only way that they could talk without me losing it. I told her to get out. I told her we are done and divorcing and never to touch me again. She then admitted to some light physical stuff and picture sending and sexting, but said no sex happened still. I don't believe her after what I saw when I grabbed her phone before she changed the password that next day. I didn't get into the hidden folder, but she did have a lot of suggestive shorts and pictures. No nudity. That she sure didn't send me in her normal photos area. The big crux is that she is literally basically hands and knees begging me to stay together, not to waste 10 years. What about future kids we want, etc., like begging. But I don't see a way forward. She will never have the courage to tell me the full truth, I know that. But I also know that deep down she does love me, and she has never been like this our entire relationship until recently. She just is so broken now. I see it in her eaves and body posture, and I said a lot of terrible things to her when I caught her at that hotel. So key points. She has images on her phone that she doesn't want me to see of her, and also him in boxers. She wants to stay together. I'm not an idiot. I know they had sex. I want to leave, but I deeply love her. She has never had any toxic traits until the last few months. But I don't believe that she has the strength to cut contact with this guy after multiple times being caught, and the huge amount of communication that they have had the past few months. Near constant when I'm not around. They no longer work together, but he works nearby. He texted me to apologize. I told him to fuck off. Is there any way forward, really, even a long shot? I don't need the leave her speech, please. Is this my fault? Sixth story. I am 43, have been cheated by my wife, F44. Will my feelings get better? My wife is with me for past 20 years. We've been married for 14 years. We have 2 kids, 4 and 9. My wife did not have sex partners before me. My best friend's wife forced him to tell me a month ago that he's been having an affair with my wife for past 1.5 years. I asked my wife about it and she told me everything, answered every question I had, and I have to admit tried to be as honest as possible about it. All the time she is saying that she never considered leaving me. even though my friend confessed his love to her and considered leaving his wife. I can't say I never suspected a thing. I knew that they are talking a lot, going out together, etc. But I was so sure and certain of purity of their relationship that I was actually happy that my wife has such a close friend. She finds it really hard to befriend someone. Because of that, a few times I got a bit suspicious. I half joked about it and received light-hearted response. I knew my wife enjoys a bit of a flirt, but had 100% trusted she won't go too far. Apparently my friend was in a really tough place in his relationship, something I also knew, and turns out he can be golden-mouthed towards women. I'm writing this down as a lapse of judgment about the ability to control one's emotions on part of my wife. As far as I can tell, they seduced each other so much that the tension became too much, and about 2-3 months from start of the flirt they went to bed. Now, what hurts me is not strictly that she cheated. I'm quite steady and like to think I know about human weaknesses. I take into consideration that this kind of thing can happen in the heat of the moment. No, what hurts me is, she enjoyed sex with him, and did some stuff I asked her to do with me and she refused. Although she now says this experience unblocked her somewhat. I'm jealous how enthusiastic she was to have sex with him. The affair wasn't done when I learned about it. Well, they didn't have penetration sex for a few months, just a week prior to finding out she gave him a blowjob. I came to conclusions that she fell in love. She's not very good at identifying her romantic feelings. So it took a few weeks of us talking to each other for her to understand it. It felt good to be wanted by another man. The situation was so stable for 18 months that she was ready to continue this indefinitely. Even though on a number of occasions she wrote to her lover that they should really put a break on their relationship. Then he cried, then she cried, then they made up. The only thing that she really regrets is that she hurt my feelings, and I can tell it's not just about being discovered. I think she really underappreciated how wrecked I will be, tbh. I gave her some reasons to think that I don't care that much about cheating, see above. Anyway, I want to continue the relationship with her. I still love her. I am not disgusted with her, and in past month we had a number of genuinely good moments between us. We were able not to say anything relationship ending hurtful to each other, and we both were very civilized in our talks. However, well, sometime I can almost forget that it happened, or be happy for her. I consider love a gift, and this may be weird, but I'm happy she had an experience which was elating. Other times I hurt so badly. And then there are disgusting dreams, where she laughs at my naivety, of she just goes around screwing any man that would like to. I don't need psychoanalysis of me or my wife. I most definitely do not wish anyone to call her names. We're human, okay? Things happen. What I want to get from this community are stories of people who lived through such infidelity, and what happened to them afterwards. I would love to hear from someone who lived through similar ordeal, and still managed to regain long-term happiness with cheating partner. If there's any advice included, that'd be even better. Help me. My hurt is now bringing her down, and it may be too much for her, and it will be I who destroys our chance to fix this. Yes, she fucked up very big time, but we are still talking about staying together. I can divorce her, keep the kids, house, etc., and this will not be the end of the world, but I still love her and want her. 7th story. Trying to heal, move on after my husband's emotional affair. I've been a mess for almost 2 months since D-Day. Quick background: I caught my husband a week after my birthday scuffs having an emotional affair with an ex who lives in a different country. We currently moved into our new home before I discovered this. Long story short, the ex is someone who had a long-distance relationship since they both were young at the time and couldn't afford traveling to see each other. They've only met once in person, which was almost 10 years ago, so majority of their relationship was through messaging after or Skype. They currently reconnected in March from what I've seen in the messages, but who knows. Anyway, once he got exposed, He immediately wanted to do everything to save our marriage and suggested marriage counseling, changed his number, and gave me access to all his emails social. He even went as far as giving me full access to his bank account so I can see where his funds are going. He said if I want, I can manage his paycheck to take care of the bills and take whatever money I need. Mind you, we didn't really have issues before this. The only funk we were in was last year after I birthed our son. Even the happiest couples told me the first year with a baby is the toughest, especially as new parents. I agreed we can work on our marriage, but the part one messed up on was informing my mom. She kept convincing me to try to fix this and I fell for it. I felt like I wasn't given a choice and was getting pressured by everyone, including my friends. Other than my husband, I think they mean well but trying to help. However, this isn't an easy fix. Overall, my husband isn't a bad man. He was extremely helpful, especially after I gave birth, and even changed his work schedule, just so I could get full 8 hours of sleep. He's a very kind man, so I'm just so confused why he'd do this. His excuse was he noticed a shift in our marriage and was bored. When I get bored, I pick up a new hobby, phone a friend, binge a show. I don't hit up an old ex and have an emotional affair. I realize now I'm in the rage stage. He caused me to have anxiety, lack of sleep and appetite. I decided to create a 2-year plan for my exit. I can't drive due to driving anxiety from an accident I suffered when I first was learning to drive. I did get my license a couple years ago but drove a few times. I just got new glasses so I'll look for a driving instructor and take it slow. I want to see a therapist and discuss my mental health. Hopefully that'll help with all the anxiety I've been facing. It wasn't until this betrayal that maybe I've been experiencing anxiety all these years and didn't know, but going through this has definitely amplified it. I'm open to all advice and questions, preferably women who have been through this. 8th story. Am I that bad for telling my fiance to get over her dead ex-boyfriend? My fiance, 33, and I, 36, have been together for 3 years. She was with her previous boyfriend for around 3 years and they have 2 young kids together. He died from an OD 2 weeks ago. He had been struggling with addiction off and on since before they were together. I've known him since childhood, but wasn't close. I can say he was a very friendly, outgoing, charismatic guy when he was clean. He was the type of guy where if he was around, you'd stand no chance with the girls because they were all interested in him. Eventually, she broke up with him due to his addiction issues, but ensured that he still had a relationship with his kids. Recently, that's been supervised visitations at his parents' house after he lost his job, lost his license, and failed court-mandated drug testing. I believe he made some genuine attempts to get clean. He was trying. I wanted him to succeed because I've always thought he was a good guy and his kids deserved that version of him. I became the stable day-to-day father figure, which I willingly took on, but respected that he was their dad and they loved him. Since he died, she's been a mess. Yesterday she stayed in bed all day before sitting outside at night crying for at least an hour. Today is Father's Day and she practically woke up crying. I know she's not just sad that he's gone, but she's sad for her kids. I know it was devastating for her to have to tell her 2 very young children that their dad was dead. She's been moping around for 2 weeks, crying nonstop, calling off work. I told her she really needs to snap out of it. She told me I love him so much. He was the love of my life. I'll never love anyone that much. I guess that was the last straw for me, and I told her to get over him or I'm out. I'm not going to be second in her heart after a dead guy she hasn't even been in a relationship with for years. She told me I'm not being empathetic and I have no tact. I'm an asshole and he was never that mean to her regardless of what was going on. Yeah, it's easy to not be an asshole when you're strung out on heroin or stay drunk 24/7 and are the happy type of drunk. Am I that bad for telling her to get over him? and that I won't stick around if she is still in love with him, sees him as the love of her life, says she won't ever love anyone else like that again? I really want to know if this was an asshole thing to say, ultimatum to give.